ladies, new video this evening, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. I go by the name Tracy on here, where we talk about godly femininity. Let's get started. I pray that you all are doing well and are joyful. As you can see by the title, we're going to talk about how to speak in a feminine way, how to speak as a feminine woman, which I believe has become lost in our days among us women. Whether circumstances that have hardened us, I don't know whether you've taken on a masculine role, hustle culture which has hardened us, or just a lack of knowledge. Before I get any further into this video, I first wanted to mention this is not going to be an attack on any woman. It's far from that, but the complete opposite, which I pray that this video, as you choose to embrace your femininity and godly biblical femininity, that will help you along your feminine journey. But I'm trying to see the reasons why we as women don't act soft, don't speak in a feminine way, and the reasons being. So I'm trying to see the reasons why this might happen when a woman has hardened herself. So ladies, don't see this as an attack on your character, but an opportunity to grow. Speaking softly has to do with the reasons that I've previously stated on the possible reasons on how a woman has hardened herself. And the things that could help is to prioritize rest and not to take as many tasks. Because if you're tired, physically tired and mentally tired, more likely you're going to be irritable. And if you're irritable, you can't be soft. You're less likely to be soft. So what would help is prioritizing physical rest and also spiritual rest. Because to be a godly feminine woman, it is a spiritual issue to know the word of God and the truth concerning your life as your role as a woman in this world and what God has for you in your role as a woman in this world. So you need the words of God. You need to connect with God through Jesus. So it's prioritizing rest. So see it as, I can only talk to people this way if I'm this way. Another thing I wanted to mention that just came to mind right now. It didn't really come to mind as I was going through preparing for this video. But why are these things important? It's important because we as women have a role in this world that God created us for. And if we act on what the word of God says about us as godly feminine women, it will make much of a difference and things will be in harmony within our role. The role of a woman contributes to society, and it does make an impact. So speaking softly, reconnecting or discovering what God has put inside you already as a feminine woman, it does matter. Another reason why a woman might become hard is maybe you're not taking as many tasks and you're prioritizing rest. I know this happened for me, but you've just been so overwhelmed because of work. And I believe a solution to this is, if you believe in God, if you believe in Jesus, a woman who trusts in God is joyful. It talks about this in Proverbs 31, that though a woman faces so many things, despite that, she's joyful. And joyful is not, sorry, ladies, I don't have the verse on hand right now. I'm gonna post it somewhere here. But joy is not a feeling. It's a state of mind, and you're choosing to be joyful because one chooses to be joyful because one trusts, as she believes in God, as she believes in Jesus, believes in God through Jesus, that God will handle everything. He's in control. He works all things for good. That God has this. That's why, despite what she's facing, she's joyful. So she's hopeful and positive that God will come through. And these are all feminine traits. Being positive, seeing the beauty in things, despite it not being what you expected. But you know it's coming from a good God. So that's where the joy comes from. I would notice this in myself, and I wouldn't take as many tasks, but I would become overwhelmed. And by that, I wouldn't respond in a soft and gentle way to others at times. So it takes trusting in God. And as I said, being positive, which is a feminine trait, to see the beauty in things. And I know life's happenings is hard. In this life, we weren't, and this might seem a little bit off tangent here, but life's happenings aren't prevented because there's a place better than this place. Because we live in a fallen and broken world. So life's happenings happen. But what will help is prayer and the Word of God. Praying to God to help you see the positive. And despite these trials, despite how you're feeling, to see what God is doing. Even though all these things are happening around you. Trying to see the beauty in what God is doing. Even though these things are happening around you. Speaking softly also has to do with your tone. And no, you don't have to alter your vocal cords or change your voice, but the tone. And tone could be the volume at which you speak. It could be the way you express yourself in the words that you use. Softly doesn't mean a high-pitched voice, but it's just the way in which you speak and the way you express that. So as a woman, as a feminine woman, try to use a bubbly, lively tone. I know for me, when I heard about this, I was like, I'm shy. How can I have a bubbly or lively tone? But it is possible. And I have been trying it. And also when you're trying to be serious, try to use a neutral tone. Not yelling, not aggression or agitation, but try to use a neutral tone. When you're trying to be serious, if someone has hurt you or you're trying to set up that boundary, to use a neutral tone. That's what I've noticed. Speaking in a soft, feminine way has to do with what you say and how you say it. Speaking softly also doesn't, in a soft, feminine way, doesn't seek to control. Like, I wouldn't use the phrase, you could do this. Instead, I would use words like I feel. I even made the mistake of saying much better when I was talking to a particular person who I didn't really have any authority over. So try to stay away from those phrases. Like you can say, unless you're talking to a kid. a child. Also, speaking in a soft, feminine way, speaking as a feminine woman, is I wouldn't use words that are complaining, blaming, or criticizing. Because as I said before, a feminine woman doesn't seek to control. She's a quiet, gentle spirit. The feminine woman is submissive. She considers others. She's compassionate. She's understanding. Try to stay away from words that seem like complaining, blaming, and criticizing. I also wouldn't use a phrase like "you always." I would use "I feel like" and say what that person did in that moment. I'm just going to provide more examples. So if you find that you're disagreeing with somebody, I would start off with something positive. Like, "Oh, that's interesting, but what if it was this way?" Other examples, let's just say someone told you and was being sarcastic, using sarcasm, that, "Oh, your skin looks like crocodile skin," and also try to say exactly what they said and to not change what they said, but to try to say exactly what they said, to not make it into a whole nother thing. So in that situation, when someone uses sarcasm that you don't really like, you can either say nothing, or you can say, in a neutral tone, as you're serious because you really didn't like what they said. I would use, "I really didn't like that you said my skin is similar to crocodile skin." That's one example. Another example is if someone comes to you with something that you did and how you made them feel that they were hurt by. Instead of being defensive and hard, I would say, "Sorry that you feel that way," or "Sorry that I made you feel that way." Also, phrases like, you'll be surprised that adults are using this phrase, "I have to go pee." Instead of using that phrase, I would use, "I'm going to the bathroom," or "I'm going to the restroom." And instead of "ill," I would say, "I really don't like this," or "I don't like it," in a neutral tone, or even you can add a little smile to it. "I really don't like this," or "I don't like this." These are just examples in how to talk in a feminine way. Also, try to stay away from cursing, vulgarity, talk appropriately, because all this cheapens the elegance of one's speech. And vulgarity is not only cursing, but TMI, too much information. Like the example I use about the bathroom. Another thing I would add is try to increase your vocabulary as well to enhance your speech and elegance in your speaking. To enhance your speech so that there will be elegance in your speaking. This is something I'm going to try to do, and I think by reading books would help. But these are just examples and tips on how to speak in a feminine way, to speak as a feminine woman. Another thing is try to stay away from gossiping as well. And it's all the same with blaming, criticizing, complaining, and judging, which is not a right thing to do. As I said, as a feminine woman, a quiet, gentle spirit, what First Peter chapter 3 verse 4 says about us is that we're understanding, we're considerate, we're compassionate. These are all gentle traits as a feminine woman. The Bible even says to stay away from gossip. So also not gossiping. If you have an issue with somebody, one thing I've heard and took away is to go to the person and discuss the issue and to help them with it for the betterment of your relationship with them. This is being compassionate as a feminine woman. So yeah, try to stay away from all these things. Ask God to help you, because these things, it does cheapen your speech, and it also can come with aggression, which is not feminine. Because all these things come with aggression, which is not feminine. So ladies, from this video, I don't want you to think that I have it all down, because I still make mistakes as I'm on my femininity journey and learning about how God created me to be and my role in this earth as a woman. But I know what God has put in me based on the verses that I read in the Bible, which is the truth. And that's it for this video. I pray that this helped you on your femininity journey as you're becoming a godly feminine woman. See you in the next video. I am a woman of God, in my nature, in my thoughts.